Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Hugh Riches. In the headlines tonight, a body is found in North Yorkshire, the Lincoln Eastern Bypass scheme is halted, and a new weather vane in an East Yorkshire village. And later in tonight's programme, I'll be talking to Councillor Andy Tate on the Great British Spring Clean, and before that, Roy Woodcock on tourism in East Yorkshire. The body of a man wanted in connection with a murder in East Yorkshire has been discovered. Officers discovered the body of 55-year-old Anthony Lawrence in a vehicle in North Yorkshire yesterday. Lawrence killed 30-year-old Shane Gilmer and attacked his pregnant girlfriend at a house in Southburn near Driffield on Friday evening. A crossbow was found at the scene. The Humberside Police and Crime Commissioner is asking residents across the East Riding for their views on plans to increase council tax. Keith Hunter says a rise would enable 60 extra officers to be recruited. Mr Hunter has the authority to raise the policing precept by 6.4%, meaning residents living in a Band D property would see a rise in their council tax of £12 a year. An online survey can be found at www.humberside-pcc.gov.uk until the 29th of January. Work has been halted on the £99 million Lincoln Eastern Bypass. This is after the contractor Cllr went into liquidation today. Only 10% of work on the project has been finished so far. Lincolnshire County Council is now looking to appoint a new contractor to manage and complete the scheme. East Riding Council has revealed plans to redevelop Hornsea Leisure Centre. New facilities will be built to encourage indoor and outdoor sport and play. The library, customer services centre and resource centre will be moved to the new facility. A consultation on the proposals takes place on Thursday and Friday at East Riding Leisure in Hornsea. Work is expected to start in May and to be complete next year. A weather vane has been built in Willoughby. It celebrates the town's Viking heritage. It's on a roundabout on Kingston Road, a key area during the Viking settlement, apparently. Paul Graham, spokesman for Willoughby Parish Council, says that having the weather vane in such a central location in the town illuminates its heritage.
Well, the story behind it is Willoughby's got a long history, a great heritage going back to the Viking days. Not enough people know that, and we were also looking for a structure to go on this roundabout where previously a dead tree had stood for quite a long time. Well, hopefully what the parish council have commissioned and has now been installed will be something which celebrates the heritage of Willoughby, create a landmark for generations to come, and hopefully an educational resource for children who are learning about the Vikings in their school studies. Basically, it was a collaboration of ideas of a number of people, but then taken forward by Tom Hayes, who was the artist blacksmith that's created it. But every piece of the structure is relevant to its Viking heritage. This roundabout really is in the heart of Willoughby, and it's at the heart of where the Viking settlement was. People often forget that Hull might be the biggest name locally, but Willoughby was here quite a lot of years before, along with Hessle. Hessle was an area that flooded too much for farming, so they moved inland and made a settlement where they could farm. And this is it. You know, it's something we should celebrate the heritage of and pass that knowledge through this structure to generations to come.
High-rise flats in Scunthorpe are to have sprinkler systems. The installation follows the fatal fire at Grenfell Tower in London last June, which claimed over 100 lives. The sprinklers will be installed at Prince's House, Sutton House, Crosby House and Trent View House. Ongo Homes is investing £800,000 in the scheme. Market Raisin is to have a new leisure facility. West Lindsey District Council has approved plans for the £6 million scheme to build a new building in the town. It'll include an all-weather pitch, gym, fitness studio and sports hall. The location of the new site will be announced at a later date. A working men's club closed its doors for the last time this weekend. Ashby Constitutional Social Club in Scunthorpe closed on Saturday after 120 years. It's failed to make a profit for nearly 10 years, and members blame the smoking ban and cheap supermarket booze for the club's demise. Giant metal daffodils have been produced by a team in Cleethorpes ahead of the Golden Daffodil Weekend in June, which will raise funds for Marie Curie. The idea was inspired by the Tower of London poppies, as organiser Mick Plant explains.
It's something that's never been done. I've checked the internet and various other places to see if I could purchase a metal daffodil, and there's nobody selling them. So Marie Curie has given us a go-ahead to produce these things, and hopefully we're going to be raising £15,000 for the local cause.
He came to us this year, although we don't make them, I mean Hodgson and Cowse make the daffodils. He asked us if we could paint them, and of course he will sell these and all the money will go to charity. So, you know, we're virtually doing it free of charge, and all the profits then go to charity, which is as it should be.
Marie Curie, I think most people have been struck by at some time by not just cancer but terminal illnesses. The local ladies, it's £250 a night to have a Marie Curie nurse there, and we want this money to go locally. It's not going to go to a head office, it's going to be going locally to the Grimsby nurses.
The Ritas are now in their 9th year, an annual celebration of Hull and East Yorkshire's tourism industry, awards for those the tourism industry. And I'm joined now by Roy Woodcock to tell me how people can get involved. Roy, many thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Hugh. Yes, good to be back.
We've talked about this for probably the last couple of years as well, the Ritas. They're a great success.
Yes, they are, and I think that's it, really. We're in our 9th year, as you just said, but in the last few years they've sort of gained real momentum, and they're now a hugely significant event in the year in Hull and East Yorkshire. And this week, very exciting, because we're approaching the deadline for entries.
Well, just remind me, what does Rita stand for?
It's the Remarkable East Yorkshire Tourism Awards. So they're open to any tourism business or individual in Hull and East Yorkshire. And there are 13 categories that they can enter themselves, put themselves forward to find things like the best pub, best hotel, best tea shop, and best large and small event that's been held in the previous 12 months.
Now, that's the deadline, as you say, is coming up this Friday.
Yes.
Businesses can nominate themselves in those categories. Can other people nominate businesses as well? If you've gone out and had a particularly fantastic weekend at some sort of
There's
bed
no
and
reason
breakfast.
why you couldn't, but the overwhelming majority are the business themselves have put themselves forward and made a case for why they should be considered a remarkable tourism business. And that's easy to do, and it's free to do, and it can be done online.
Do you want to remind us of the website?
Yes, so if people search for Visit Hull and East Yorkshire, VHEY for short, VHEY, the actual website that they need to go to is www.visithullandeastyorkshire.co.uk. But if they just put VHEY into a search engine, it would come up. And once you're on the site, the homepage will point you to the relevant area to make those entries.
Now, once Friday has passed, then the hard work begins of trying to make a judgment within each of these categories.
Absolutely. Yes.
How does that process take place? Who's going to do the judging?
Well, it's mainly done by mystery shoppers. There are 1 or 2 categories which are done by a tourism expert panel that we bring in from amongst the VA members themselves. But largely, so things like the best pub, best tea shop, best restaurant, they're all done by mystery shoppers. So a shortlist is compiled. It's given to the mystery shoppers. They go out over a couple of weeks, visit all those shortlisted entrants, and come up with their decision at the end of it all. But those shortlisted, I think the really significant thing is that the shortlisted businesses, and there will be 5 or 6 in each category, are all invited to the final in March in Hull, and they'll have video films made of their businesses, which are shown to the audience, 500 or 600 people. So it's good publicity good marketing for the tourism businesses, whether they ultimately win or not.
We'll come to that awards ceremony in a moment, but this is the best job in the world, isn't it? To be one of these mystery shoppers, to go around restaurants and pubs and tea shops and presumably get your expenses paid. Do you go and have a pint on the Yorkshire tourism industry?
If you're judging best restaurant, you'll have at least 5 or 6 meals there that you can enjoy. And come up with your decision. So yes, absolutely, best job in the world.
Where's the application form?
Hugh, I'll let you know later.
Thank you very much. But it's going to be a big bash for the awards ceremony. That's later on in the year.
Yes, it's in March, and it's back in Hull for the first time in 3 years. For the last 2 years, it's been in Bridlington at the Spa, but this year we've brought it back into Hull after the City of Culture.
Rather fancy venue.
The new hotel that's slap bang in the middle of the city centre, the Doubletree by Hilton, been a lot of excitement around that. It opened literally the week before Christmas, and there's been a lot of interest. It has a celebrity chef restaurant, Marco Pierre White.
He's a chap who throws things, I think, isn't he?
Well, hopefully not at the one in Hull, but he's got a reputation, I agree. It's got a rooftop bar, lovely views out over the city centre.
I take it it's not allowed to put itself forward for an award.
No, you're absolutely right, but I'm sure it will in future years. But they're really excited, as we are, to be hosting this event. They have the biggest ballroom and conference centre in the whole county.
I'm sure it's a wonderful place. Nominations close on Friday. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks to you.
Join me after the break. Jack will bring us a roundup of all the latest sports news, and I'll be talking to Andy Tate on keeping Lincolnshire streets clean and tidy. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, Jack brings us a roundup of all the latest sports news, and I'll be talking to Andy Tate about cleaning up the Lincolnshire streets. Two world-renowned orchestras will be in Bridlington later this month, the Manchester Camerate and Sinfonia Viva. The concert will feature music from Mozart and Mendelssohn and performances from East Riding Youth Dance County Company. It takes place at Bridlington Spa on the 28th of January. Tickets from www.bridspa.com. A new exhibition will go on display in Lincoln next month. It tells the story of sculptor Henry Moore and features rarely seen pieces and ceramics by artist Ewan Henderson. The exhibition commemorates the 800th anniversary of the Charter of the Forest. From the land, Henry Moore, Ewan Henderson and other artists will be at the Collection in Lincoln from the 10th of February. Aqua natal sessions are to take place in Grimsby later this week. The classes are designed for women at any stage of pregnancy. They focus on gentle exercise to alleviate pain and muscle tension. Sessions take place at Grimsby Leisure Centre every Thursday from 1:45 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Places can be booked via linksinspire.com. North Lincolnshire Council is calling on litter heroes to step forward once again to take part in the 2018 Great British Spring Clean. And I'm joined now by Andy Tate from North Lincolnshire Council to tell me more about it. Welcome, Andy.
Thank you.
You came in here from North Lincolnshire, presumably. Was it a very messy, untidy drive that you had?
Not particularly. No, we don't feel that North Lincolnshire's anywhere worse than anywhere else in the country. But it's obviously a big problem that we need to tackle.
So when is this big litter clean-up, the big spring clean, and how can people get involved?
This year it's over the weekend, the 2nd to the 4th of March. So that's Friday through to Sunday. And we're trying to encourage as many people in the local communities to take part as possible. It's a big event. It's the 3rd year running now that Keep Britain Tidy have organised this event. Last year we had a really successful weekend. We had 700 bags, large bags of litter collected from 38 different community groups, and that was almost double that of the previous year.
So 38 different community groups, that suggests to me, sort of extrapolating, that several hundred people involved.
Yes, just over 400 people involved last year. We had town and parish councils involved, we had scouts, the Army Cadets, a great supporter, But even just neighbours getting together to tackle litter issues in their own street.
If people do want to take part again this year in March, is there somewhere you can sign up, as it were, to be told where and when to be?
Yes, we'd encourage people to look at the North Lincolnshire Council website where there are details. They can contact us by telephone on Scunthorpe, which is 01724 297775, and also to register their interest with the Keep Britain Tidy website, because what they do is plot all the different initiatives throughout the country.
Are there particular hotspots or grubby spots, as it were, in North Lincolnshire where the rubbish tends to pile up?
Yes, there are. We do have particular concerns on the highway verge, but we wouldn't ask community groups to deal with litter on, say, a 60-mile-an-hour road. We're looking more at parks within the villages themselves, perhaps riverbanks, public rights of way. But yes, I think that people's own communities, they know where the particular problems are.
Yeah, there is a nationwide problem with fly tipping. Now that's a sort of slightly different thing, isn't it? Because it's with the litter, I would imagine, is people just carelessly, thoughtlessly throwing away wrappers and packaging and old newspapers and things like that, and tins and cans. But fly tipping is a deliberate getting rid of big, heavy things. Is this weekend going to be trying to address that as well, or is it just tidying up the litter?
Not particularly. We did run a campaign a few weeks ago about fly tipping and the white van man scenario. But what we did find last year was that groups did highlight where the fly tipping was, and if they couldn't deal with it, which invariably they can't because of the volume, then we can send staff down there at a later date and collect it for them.
Now, what's the feedback been like from people who've volunteered and who've done this? Has it been... It always sounds a bit of a chore. Tidying up is always a bit of a chore. But in fact, if you're all out together with a shared purpose, was that quite a satisfying day?
Yes, we found from the feedback we got that the groups actually enjoyed what they did, and they found that it brought about a sense of camaraderie in the towns and villages, and it almost like bonded the community. People who perhaps hadn't seen each other during a normal day, and getting together has really helped. And I think what it also did in a lot of examples, it brought the community together on a regular basis. So the litter pick wasn't just a one-off. People asked if they could keep all the equipment, the litter pickers and so on, so they could continue this on a monthly or bi-monthly basis. Because
you provide sort of high visibility clothes and bags and those sticks with clamps on the end and things like that?
We do, and this year we've been able to organise a deal with a local landfill operator, Biffa, who've kindly sponsored the Great British Spring Clean in North Lincolnshire. And what that allows us to do is buy around 200 kits, and that involves litter pickers, gloves, high-vis, and so on.
And everything disposed of very environmentally, lots of recycling and all that as well. Andy, thank you so much for coming in. Time now for the Sports with Jack.
We'll start with football, and Hull City once again failed to win in the Championship. The Tigers drew 0-0 at home to Reading on Saturday, a result which leaves the club just 1 point above the relegation zone in 20th. John Terrell had a goal disallowed for City after being deemed to have kicked the ball out of the hands of Reading keeper Vito Manone. Jared Bowen and Seb Larson also went close, but Hull have now failed to score in 5 of their last 6 league games. After the game, head coach Nigel Adkins said, "We finished the game strongly and on the front foot, and it's nice to be able to bring players on from the bench that can have an impact. We've addressed some of the issues that we were having before. We look strong towards the end of games now, and we're on that roll of getting more clean sheets. If we keep doing the right things, then we have more of a chance of winning games instead of having to score at least 1 or 3 goals to win." In contrast, Scunthorpe United extended their unbeaten run in League One to 6 games. The Iron drew 1-1 to Portsmouth at Fratton Park to solidify their position in the playoff places in 4th. Jamal Lowe had given Pompey the lead on 15 minutes, but Kevin Van Veen struck early in the second half to ensure United returned home with a point. Scunthorpe manager Graham Alexander was pleased with his side's performance. He said, "We more than held our own once we realised what we needed to do in the game. We had to be respectful and wary of the threat Portsmouth posed because they have really good attacking players in the ranks. We did really well today, but it's just disappointing we couldn't find that second goal. We reminded the players of the basics and added a bit of composure, and he added, "It is a difficult venue to play at, but we showed we can compete at any arena and take points." On to League Two now, and it was another disappointing weekend for Grimsby Town. The Mariners lost 2-1 at home to Newport County on Saturday to make it 4 straight league defeats. The Welsh visitors went 2-0 in front thanks to goals from Robbie Wilmot and Frank Nublet. Substitute Jamil Matt then pulled a goal back for Grimsby late on before getting himself sent off shortly afterwards to compound Town's misery. Grimsby fall to 17th in the table and now find themselves 10 points off the playoff places. Mariners boss Russell Slade was asked after the game if he had anything to say to the fans.
Just said I want to remain professional and you know, they're entitled to their opinion, which I've just told you. I said it's not an easy time at the minute. I've just told you that it's not a straight road. If it was, we'd all be doing it. So, you know, the corner will turn. That's the important thing. The corner will turn because we'll work hard and we'll ensure it does.
In Rugby League, it was Hull Kingston Rovers who won the bragging rights in the first instalment of the Hull Derby this season. The Robins came from behind to win 34-26 in the annual Clive Sullivan Trophy at the KCOM Stadium yesterday. KR led 12-10 at the halfway stage, but Jake Connor's second try of the match saw Hull FC take the lead in a game which also acted as Danny Houghton's 10-year testimonial. However, in total, Rovers ran in 6 tries from 6 different scorers against a youthful black and white team to claim the bragging rights and the trophy for the second successive year. And that's all for the sport. Back to Hugh in the studio.
Thanks very much, Jack. That's it for tonight. My thanks to Roy Woodcock. Remember, the closing date for those Tourism Awards ceremonies in East Yorkshire is Friday. If you've a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages. Contacts on screen. Email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472315553. Or you can write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN345BQ. Thanks very much for watching. Until tomorrow, good evening.